So my name is George Piro, and I retired as the special agent in charge of the FBI's Miami field office, which is the fourth largest FBI office in the United States. And the office was responsible for all of South Florida, which is an area that has a population of nearly 9 million people, as well as the Caribbean, Central and South America. So investigatively, any crimes or investigations conducted by the FBI in the Caribbean, Central and South America was conducted out of the Miami field office. I recently retired, actually June 30th, after 24 years of service with the FBI, which in total was approximately 34 years of law enforcement service. So prior to joining the FBI, I was a police officer in Northern California for nearly 10 years. I joined the law enforcement because I was always interested in law enforcement. So when I was young, I wanted a career that I thought would be very exciting, challenging, and there'd be some adventure. For me, I never thought I would be happy or satisfied in a office type job, sitting behind a desk or anything like that. I wanted a career where it would be there would be different kinds of opportunities, and every day would be different. So I was very attracted to law enforcement, and I was very fortunate that I was hired as a police officer when I was 21 years old in Northern California. So as I began my law enforcement career, I was fortunate enough, I got promoted to detective. And as a detective, I was working a bank robbery and met a young FBI agent who convinced me to join the FBI, as it is the premier agency in the world. And I say that because there's literally nowhere in the world that you could go and say those three letters without people recognizing the organization and what the organization stands for. So I was very inspired and decided to try to join the FBI, because it is very difficult and very competitive to join the FBI. But again, I was very lucky and fortunate. I was hired by the FBI in 1999 and became a special agent with the FBI. And throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to serve both in the United States as well as overseas. So for example, I was assigned to Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. I was assigned to Amman, Jordan. I've done multiple combat tours in Iraq as well as Afghanistan. And the highest position that I was able to attain within the FBI was Assistant Director over International Operations Division, which oversaw all of the FBI operations globally. The other thing that the FBI has provided me was it provided me a scholarship to attend Georgetown University, allowed me to travel the world, where I've been to approximately 80 some countries throughout my career. And I've gotten to do things and experience things that most people only read about in novels or see in movies. So I've truly had an incredible career, and very, very fortunate to have had the opportunity to be a part of what I believe is the greatest agency in the world.
That is, you make it sound so easy. Like how you just described that. You're like, yeah, this is what I did. Do you mind if we just jump right into some student questions so we don't take a lot of your time? Because I've already gotten some message in the chat and emailed to me as well.
Absolutely.
And guys, keep them coming in the chat. You've already some awesome questions. One of the kids wanted to know, Did you always want to be an FBI agent? And if not, what did you want to be when you were younger?
So I always wanted to be in law enforcement from the as far back as I can remember. Of course, I'm sure I was very influenced by police TV shows. You know, growing up watching various TV shows, you know, it made police work or law enforcement very exciting, very adventurous. So I was kind of drawn to it. I always wanted to be part of the FBI because, again, as I mentioned, it is the premier agency in the world. I just didn't realize that it was a possibility for me. Again, knowing how difficult or how competitive and selective the FBI is. You know, one of the things that that made me think like that was the fact that I'm an immigrant to the United States. My family and I were fortunate enough that we were able to escape the civil war in Lebanon and immigrate to the United States when I was 12. So when I came here at 12, I actually couldn't speak a word of English. And so I didn't become a US citizen until I was 17 years old. So being not born in the United States, an immigrant from the Middle East, I didn't think that, you know, the FBI would take me. But again, as I mentioned, I met that young FBI agent who told me that it was possible and kind of inspired me to want to pursue it. And thankfully he did, because I did pursue it and, you know, was able to make it a reality.
And what a reality you made it. Huge career. So I got quite a number of kids asked about this question because obviously they read about your background. Can you tell us a little bit about how you wound up being the interrogator for Saddam Hussein? And what was that like? That's like, you're just a front row seat to like history in the making.
Absolutely. So to be honest with you, I didn't even realize I was being considered for the assignment. I just got a call one evening and was told that I'd just been selected to carry out the interrogation. So in the FBI, you really don't have a lot of choices, and you know, people generally don't ask you, you know, what you think or your opinion. It's very paramilitary. So I got the call, said, "Hey, you're going back to Iraq and you're going to be interrogating Saddam Hussein." I later found out, you know, what the selection process was. Saddam Hussein only spoke Arabic, and the FBI recognized for the interrogator to have any chance of success, the interrogator had to be able to speak Arabic, so that the interrogator can speak directly with Saddam, and you can develop that rapport, which is the basis of how we do interviews. In 2003, at the end of 2003, the FBI had over 12,000 special agents, but about 12 of those spoke native Arabic. I happened to be one of the 12, so you could see how my chances dramatically increased at that point. So that was one of the main factors. Of course, interrogations was an area that I had extensive experience in training in, both as a police officer, because I was a homicide detective, and then of course as an FBI agent. I had done interrogations not only in the United States, some key ones, but also overseas, including Iraq. So I kind of had that background that was the Bureau thought was best suited for the interrogation, and fortunately I was selected. The interrogation itself was extremely difficult. I was told be prepared to spend a year on the process, but fortunately it was about 7 months. Initially, he was very difficult to interrogate, and what I mean by that, he had a very tough personality. He was very guarded, very standoffish. He didn't really want to engage at the beginning and didn't want to talk about anything substantive. So it took quite a bit of time to develop that rapport and the process to get him to want to open up and talk about everything, and eventually about the things that we wanted to know, which was WMD and Iraq's support to terrorism, which were the two reasons why we went to war.
Yeah, and I know, I can imagine you joined the FBI in 1999, so that was like right at the beginning with, you know, 9/11 happening a few years later. And guys, we have a 9/11 survivor speaking to you guys in the next hour, so feel free to sign up for that. He's a Pentagon survivor. So we have a question from one of our students. They wanted to know what was your favorite aspect of your job working at the FBI?
Uh, and there's so many parts of my job that I really loved, and I can say that because, again, as I mentioned, I was in law enforcement 34 years, and I loved every day of it. And it's rare that you get to pick a profession that that you're so passionate or that you enjoy that it doesn't feel like work. There wasn't a day that I didn't really look forward to going to work. Uh, of course, as I mentioned, there are a lot of aspects about the job: the camaraderie, the teamwork, the mission, the value or the purpose of what you're doing. Right, the mission of the FBI is to protect the American people and to uphold the U.S. Constitution. So you can see how it can be very motivating and inspiring. So everything you do is devoted to protecting, our country or the American people. Again, as I mentioned, it was very exciting. I served in Iraq multiple times. I've been to Afghanistan, and all over other parts of the world. So I've gotten to do some really, really cool things, and various assignments throughout my career. I was fortunate. I had a tactical background, so I was on SWAT. I tried out and made the FBI's elite counterterrorism rapid deployment team. So I've gotten to go out on some really, really cool assignments around the world, which made my job really, really exciting.
And thank you for your service. We can't thank you enough. And it's just such an incredible career that you've led. We'll go with a few more questions, guys, then we're going to have to let George go. So one of the students wanted to know, how can they prepare themselves if they want to become an FBI agent? What kind of advice would you have for them?
That's a great question, and I get that question a lot. So some folks will tell you, to focus on this particular degree or this background. Of course, the FBI is really focused on recruiting folks with, the computer science background. There's a significant need for computer science or cyber, as we call it, accounting, economics, things like that. But in reality, what I tell folks, the FBI hires based on three factors, three important factors, but the least most important is skill. All right, so you have to have some skill, but the FBI will provide you that skill. The second is ability. You have to have ability, but the FBI will improve, enhance, and develop your ability. But the most important thing that we hire based on is value, right? Your value, your character, the things that that matter to you and the type of person you are, because that's the one thing that the FBI or people can't give you. That's something that's within you. So we hire based on values first, ability second, skills third. So what I tell folks is, young people is, factor that in as you are, preparing for your career. The things that are important are discipline, motivation, determination, all of those factors that that separate you from other folks. Like when I was growing up, people told me I was really, really stubborn. I am stubborn, but as I grew up, I realized that if I were to turn stubbornness into determination, there was nothing that I couldn't achieve. And those are the kinds of values or character that we're looking for. Just so you know, the FBI, if you're interested in it, they're going to look at your social media. They're going to look at your posts. They're going to look at your, the decision-making process. So when I was going through the process, we didn't have social media. So they interviewed my 7th grade teacher to see what kind of kid I was at 7th grade. So imagine, that. Now we don't need to do that because we can see everything on, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram and things like that. So as you're really looking at that career, you have to think about the decisions that you make now will definitely affect you and impact you in the future. So, just be conscious of that.
That is phenomenal advice. And so, as far as, is there a language thing that can, if you're fluent, if you're bilingual, does that help as well? Or is that an older thing?
No, no, no. Languages are extremely valuable and important. So we're constantly recruiting folks that have language skills. Of course, at the top of that is Chinese, Farsi, Arabic, Russian. There's Spanish, French. So all of anything that separates a candidate from the pool it definitely helps, but languages is one of those that are really, really critical.
I know that we have a lot of kids here that are fluent in multiple languages, and so I know I'm sure that was on some of their minds. So I wanted to introduce one of my colleagues, Miss Sierra Lena, who actually met you at the Citizens Academy a while back, and she recommended that I reach out. So Lena, you can say hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I mean, I love hearing the story again, and I just wish I was younger when I went to Citizens Academy, so I would have been inspired to attend the real academy and been an FBI agent now. But it was an amazing experience. So even if you don't want to be an FBI agent, kids, the experience of going through the Citizens Academy is amazing. But nice to see you. I hope everything's well.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
So we will go with 2 more questions and then we'll go ahead and let you go. So one of our final questions is, what, in your opinion, is the biggest misconception about the FBI, the way it's kind of portrayed on TV?
Well, I guess the biggest misconception is that the FBI eavesdrops or monitors or spies on U.S. citizens, and that's not the case at all, right? So the FBI operates under not only the U.S. Constitution, but federal laws, and then we have our own guidelines and policies that really kind of dictate what we do and how we do it. I always tell folks, just look at our mission set, which is really it's to protect the American people. The conception that we listen to every call, read every email, and things like that. Imagine, how much time, effort, and people that would take. And most people aren't that interesting for us to really be interested in looking at all of that. So, the FBI is really committed to protecting the American people or our country. But I also remind folks that the FBI is made up of people. And I've yet to meet one person who's perfect. We all make mistakes. We all have, some flaws. While everybody tries to do their best and they're really truly committed, occasionally we do make mistakes. For us, what the American public expects from the FBI is for us to be perfect, for us to be 100% right all of the time. And that's just not possible. We strive for that, but it's not possible.
And that is, in a way, getting shut down like that we're not important enough to be spied on, but it's okay. I think we'll be all right. So before we let you go, this is the last question, and I ask this of all of our guests. What kind of advice would you have for these kids as they go off into the world and figure out what kind of paths they want to lead, whether it's in law enforcement or something completely different? You're very established in your field. What kind of advice could you impart on them?
Well, actually, I have 2 pieces of advice. One is, your future, your accomplishments, and your path is truly determined by you. Of course, there are some factors that play into that, and then things like that. But at the end of the day, the only person that can stop you is you. As you heard me say, when I came here at 12, my parents and brother and sister, we fled on a small fishing boat from Beirut with literally 2 suitcases. When I came here at 12, I literally could not speak a word of English. And here I am today, and I'm so lucky and very fortunate. And as I mentioned, I had the opportunity to go to Georgetown. And the reason why I was able to accomplish all of these is I pushed myself. I told myself that these are the things that I wanted, and I pursued them. And I didn't let anyone stop me. People told me I wouldn't be able to join the FBI because I'm Arab or from the Middle East. I wasn't born in the United States and things like that. I could have accepted that and allowed that to influence me, but I didn't. So what I tell folks, your future is dictated by what you do. Everybody wants to be a champion. Not everybody's willing to do what it takes to become the champion, and that's what separates winners or champions from others. The other thing is whatever career path that you pursue. I'm not encouraging you to pursue law enforcement, even though I found it to be an amazing career. Whatever you pick, make sure you're passionate about or that you do love, because I promise you, you're going to be doing it for 30 plus years. So imagine if you're doing something you don't like and how miserable that's going to be for 30 plus years, versus if you pick something that you really are passionate about, enjoy, love, feel like it's valuable, and it brings you a tremendous sense of accomplishment. Those 30 plus years are going to go by very, very quickly, and you're going to be very, very proud of that experience. So be very careful of what you choose, because it is going to be a long career.
Thank you so much. And thank you for being our champion and connecting with us. It means the absolute world. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity for these kids. Guys, thank you for joining us. We have many special guest speakers on the horizon. We have Simonetta Di Pippo. She's an Italian astrophysicist, Lieutenant Colonel Waldo Waldman, who's going to be speaking to you guys about flying planes, as well as we have Slava Medvedenko of the Los Angeles Lakers, two-time champion, coming to talk to you guys next week. So before we go, George, we do this with everybody. I'm going to go ahead and allow everyone to unmute to say thank you, and then I'm going to end the meeting for all. So can we all say thank you to George for taking the time out of his very special day to come speak to you guys and help inspire you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love to all of you.